Hello, this is Tom with the Tractor Rescue Ranch. I just wanted to do a sawmill update today. Hopefully with haying season done, I will be able to really get moving on that sawmill. I've got two more trips to the mountains after firewood, and so that'll take a little time, but hopefully with haying done, I'll be able to spend more time on the sawmill and get it wrapped up. Anyway, I wanted to show you how this turned out. That piece goes in there, and then this side goes on the big shaft on the sawmill. So I thought for now that turned out really nice. Anyway, I've still got some work to do here, and I'll do videos on what I'm doing here, but this bolt there, I gotta drill a hole here and put a shear bolt in it, and then this other side I'm gonna drill a couple holes and tap them, and then put some set screws down in it on that side is what my plan is. So that's where I'm at there. I'll show you some other things that I've gotten accomplished. I've been just messing with the sawmill a little bit here and there when I get a minute, and so it hasn't been enough to do much recording. So some of the things I've gotten done here, I've got the longer bolts and got those bolted down, so that stuff is all wrapped up. And then this piece here is all bolted on there, so it should be ready to go. I'm getting quite a bit done getting it ready, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start and get this last of the rails finished up. So I've got to cut a 2-inch 2x2 to go under the angle iron on that other part of the rail system. So it's a good thing I had this old hobby band mill. I've sure cut a lot of wood with it here to put this big sawmill together. So that 2x2 is going to come out pretty close out of the center of this. Get away. This board had a lot of cracks in it that kind of causing problems. But the closer you get to the center, the less problem you have with these cracks on these dried out logs. Okay, there's 4 2x2s. I only need 2, so I can pick out my best 2. and they are a little bit bigger than what I need. I did that on purpose so that I could go run the surface through the planer that is most important. So there's my two boards that go under the angle iron, all planed down nice and smooth. So now I just gotta get my angle iron on there, drill some holes and screw it all down tight. There's the rail system done. I am going to run that carriage back and forth across it a few times and see how things react. I may come back here with a welder and weld those rails all together and then grind down the bump that it leaves. I just want to see how things react first before I do that, so that it doesn't end up one really long piece. Anyway, that's the next step finished. Okay, hopefully you can hear me with this wind blowing here today. Getting these belts together, and so I was advised this is the strapping that the semi trucks use to strap their loads down, and it's just way cheaper, and I was advised not to use it, that someone else had tried it and it didn't work very well. But it's just so much cheaper, I thought I would ignore the advice and give it a try just to save some money here. I've got it stitched together there. Got to cut off the ends of the wire there. But anyway, this took me quite a bit of figure, and I didn't have a knowledge of how to set up those belts, and so these main pulleys turn the same direction all the time, and so you have to turn one way or the other. So hopefully this will be helpful. I'm not positive that I have that correct, but in my mind that's what it looks like, because I've got to turn it's got to be going opposite of each other on those pulleys. So anyway, I've got this set up here, so I've got the other one to do now, and I'll do a little filming of how I worked on stitching that together. Okay, so the first thing that I do after cutting it to length, what I did on that other one, is melt that end real good so that all the frayed ends won't continue to fray. Leaving a big hard edge there. So hopefully that'll help it so it doesn't just fray and pull out the end. So here comes the rain. The reason we were trying to get hay put up and in the barn before this forecasted rain. Anyway, my friend Scott just called and he got all of his hay all covered up. and he's ready to go, so let it rain as far as I'm concerned. So what I'm doing here, I've got this jig. This is something that I made to get the right angle on knife blades, to grind knife blades over there on my belt grinder. So it's adjustable here and everything. It's just a jig that I made for that purpose. But it's working perfect for stitching these dills together. Just this hinged thing here. So I bought this box on Amazon. It's just belt fasteners. Came a whole bunch of them in there. They were pretty reasonable. This type is pretty reasonable. They're kind of expensive, the other types that they have. So they make a tool to do this, but being on a budget like I am with everything I do, I don't own the tool. So I just got that in there. Got the belt pushed up to the end of it. That worked pretty dang good. I'll just finish it up here with cut this excess off. That was just a little bit that was left on the long end of that stitcher piece. I just wanted to put the wire through there to start with, just to make sure that it doesn't get too tight, that I can't get the wire in it and when I'm done. So that's all there is to it. Stick them two ends together after it's on the machine and stick your wire through on it. That's all it takes. And so what my plan is, once I get this one on the sawmill and the other one, I'm going to take and run the lighter through it there again, just to make sure there's a really good hard end on there that won't fray off. So anyway, like I said, I was advised against doing it this way, but so don't copy me on this project until I give it a try and see how it turns out. Okay, the wind's blowing so hard out here. I was going to bring the camera out and let you see me put this together, but I can't even get the camera to stand up on the tripod. Anyway, if this does not work, I'll admit that I was wrong and I'll start over. So you can see what happens here. This side here, it's fed off the top of that pulley and goes over the top of this pulley, and on this side it's fed off the bottom of the pulley and goes over the top of here, which changes direction. So what happens is when you tighten one side, it loosens the other side, and so that's what runs this mechanism back and forth, which makes the carriage go back and forth. Anyway, another big step forward. The one thing I got to do the next thing I got to do, I've mentioned it in the past, I've got to build a shaft, not a shaft, but just a bar that goes in that detent there and back to here, which will hold it in neutral in the middle so it doesn't creep one way or another. And then the next major thing I got to do is finish this up, and I'm waiting for one part to finish this up here, and I'll do a separate video of getting the rest of that together. Anyway, I hope you can hear this with the wind howling, but things are getting dangerously close here. Thanks for watching.